Hey everyone, so I am back on YouTube. So I've been off for maybe a couple of weeks. I got a newborn, so I have not been on YouTube. Have not really been in my Discord. Have not really been on my Telegram too much. I mentioned to the group that I had my first kid, so been a lot going on with that. But I'm back on. So now let's talk about the market. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is ES and NQ, and then I'm gonna go to the VIX and also talk about Bitcoin and also talk about what's happening in the market right now. So let's go to ES right now. ES, here we have a monthly on a bigger picture. What's showing? So simple Dow theory, right? Once ES goes below this right here, this level right here, 4,099.59, that means we have more downside for ES. And what does that mean? ES, the SP 500. A lot of companies are under ES, like some like Apple, a little bit of Tesla, a little bit of Amazon. So the SP 500 drops so many points, most likely that will follow as well. So that's not good for the ES. Once it goes below that, let me just get my Epic pen first. Forget I get it. There we go. There we go. So once it goes below this, we have more downside for the ES, and that's not good. Let me delete that. On the weekly, what is showing? That we have a lower low, a lower low, a higher high, higher low, maybe a higher high, right? Just because the market needs to pick up and go above this to be confirmed that this is a higher high. Right now it's a maybe because the market clearly we see bearish is going down. It needs to go up, goes above that, and then we have more room for the upside. And then on this is on weekly time frame, meaning each candlestick takes a week, which is 6 days since the SP 500 says /ES is the future. They open Sunday afternoons. They close on Friday. So this is a whole week right here. Go here. We clearly see a bunch of selling pressure happening here. The only thing I'll say that could possibly happen is we could find support right here. This right here could be a strong support level for the SP 500. If it finds support here, continues to go up, then we have more room for the upside. If it doesn't, then we have more downside happening for the ES. On the 1 hour, what do we see? We see a nice little channel here. Clearly, look at the bunch of sellers coming aggressively. Look at the volume. Clearly, is above daily average. And what do we see? A bunch of selling pressure coming down. So let's go back to a daily. So on the daily, like I said, we have a buy zone right here. If it finds support, then that's good. That's good for the overall market. But if it doesn't, continue to go lower, then we have more downside for other stocks. It could be from Tesla, Amazon, Google, those companies. Even though they're amazing, that's definitely a scary area to trade for the upside for a swing trade. Now let's go to the NQ. What do we see on NQ? So I mentioned to the group a couple things this week. I mentioned that NQ needs to do a higher low, which technically hasn't done it, right? We have a lower low. We have maybe a higher high question mark. Just because it needs to go above and break that, right? We need a body like this. It could be a couple, right? It could be 1 here, 2 here, 3. Breaks it. That confirmed that we have a higher high on the weekly time frame, but has not confirmed it. So we are in a buy zone right now for the NQ, which is a /NQ, which is Nasdaq. Nasdaq and /ES is both our indexes. So like Apple, Tesla, those as well as under Nasdaq as well. So if Nasdaq goes down, we have more downside for those companies. So that's why I talk about ES and NQ a lot, because you have to make sure you look at the index. If the index is dropping, most likely those stocks are gonna drop. So we have a buy zone here on the weekly. You look left, we have a buy zone here. Let's go to the daily. Let me just add more time. I need at least 5 years here. On the daily, what do we see? A bunch of selling pressure. We have a lower lows and lower highs on the daily. Simple dollar theory, meaning that we have looks like we have more downside unless it finds support here and continues to go up. 1 hour, still a bunch of downside happening. So now what I'm looking for me to trade for the upside, I want to see this. Let me just take this off. Don't need this no more. I want to see this trend line break happen, right? let's say market Sunday found support. Let's say it goes like this, and it goes up, pulls back down. At that point, I decide to go long. I decide to go long on my companies, or even on the Nasdaq, just because which is a future, slash NQ is a future. So I decide to go up at this moment just because I see a trend line break. I see, let's say, Dow theory, and I see it hit a buy zone. So that's 3 confirmations for me to go for the upside. That's the only way I trade for the upside. I do have a trend line here I gotta remove. Let's go to the VIX. And what is the VIX? So the VIX is the volatility over the overall market. Meaning if the VIX goes up, market goes down. So if we see the VIX going up, at that point you want to trade for the downside for the market. If you see the VIX going down, you trade for the upside for the market. So I mentioned to the group once. Let me show you. Go here. Okay, I mentioned to the group right here. Once the VIX goes above 25.65, we have a lot of room for the VIX to go higher. And like I said, once the VIX goes up, market goes down. Once it broke at 25.65, what happened? It just shot up higher. And I also mentioned that we had a nice little flag here on the 1 hour, right? If you know what patterns are, this is a nice flag. We saw the flag broke and it continued to go up. So the VIX just shot up, market dropped a lot of points. Where can it stop at? Let's see. We look left, right? The market always is gonna repeat itself. So we have a sell zone right here. So we have a first sell zone at the 29.30 to 28.32, which touched it. So let's see what next week's gonna do. Is gonna reject. Let me leave that there. Leave that here. If it's gonna reject here, or is gonna continue to go up higher. We have another sell zone here. Look at the monthly time, weekly. We have a lower high here, a lower high here, a lower high here, right? So you have to understand, if we swing trade, you have to make sure you're buying your companies when the VIX is pretty high, meaning close to the tip. Let's say it goes up, continues to go up. We buy it here when it starts to reject, just because we have a lot of downside happening for the VIX, and that's where we can make a lot of money in our trades. You don't want to buy any swing trades right here, because the moment you start swing trading right here, it's gonna turn around and go up, right? So the VIX find the dip, now it's going up, and now you're swing trading for the upside on a company when it's going down, and that's not good. That's why it's always good to look at the VIX and do your analysis. So now let's go to Bitcoin / BTC. This is the Bitcoin future. I don't trade Bitcoin, but I do trade stocks that follow Bitcoin, like Riot, ETH, Mara, Coin. Those stocks I do trade options and futures. Options and shares. So on a weekly time frame, what do we have? Lower low, higher high, higher low. Did a higher high. Technically, it's still simple Dow theory. It just pulled back hard. Let's see what this week's gonna do. Just looking at the market right now, crazy bearish. So, can I find support right here? We can add a trend line right here. We can add a trend line right here. Once that trend line breaks, let me remove it down here. Once that trend line breaks, then that 43,000, and we have a lower low, higher high, higher low. We have a lot of room for the upside for the Bitcoin. At that point, I'll look at like Bitcoin stocks, like I said, ETH, Mara, Riot, Coin. Those stocks I'll follow it to trade for the upside. Of course, I want to trade Coin just because look at that, it's at the lowest. I don't trade stocks like these just because there's no support level left, so I'm not interested on it. Riot, on the other hand, it dropped, it broke that support level. So where else can it hit? Let's see. We do have a resistance level right there. A resistance that becomes support here. So this is an interesting level. Also look at ETH. It's in a trend line. So let's see if we find support. If it breaks that trend line above it, then we have more room for the upside for ETH. Once it goes above 23.89, so 23.90. Once it goes above that, we have more room for the upside. Let me remove that. Okay, so now we talked about that. We talked about ATHE. We talked about Bitcoin. We talked about EF. We talked about NQ. We talked about the VIX. So what do we expect this week? So this week we have earnings coming up. What is earnings? Basically, look, each quarter of the year, each company, big companies like Amazon, Tesla already had earnings last week. That's why it had it shot up amazingly. $100 picked up literally, but market still, like I said, once market has trouble, it's gonna continue to go lower. So from here to here, it shot up with the earnings. It picked up a lot. You know, I swing traded this one. I made over 350% profit on my option contracts within 1 day. High risk but high reward. So you have to understand that. I always tell people, if you're gonna trade in earnings, you have to make sure you're in a profit. If you're not in a profit, you're trading pretty risky. So if it goes against you, most likely you can lose your whole investment. Of course, I had to be smart, and I put a decent amount of contract because I need my risk and reward. But going back to earnings, you know, we have, I believe Amazon, they have earnings this week, the 28th. You see here, earnings the 28th. So what happens on earnings? They talk about, you know, how the company been growing, how their sales been going, you know, what they expect. You know, some companies announce a split, and etc. So like last time Amazon had earnings, they picked up from here from 2790 or 20, let's say 2800. It went up within the same day to basically, let's go to the daily candlestick. Daily, it picked up basically from, let's say here, let's say 2900 to picked up $300, 350, around $330 on 1 day. Amazon, right? A lot of potential profit you can make here, but like I said, a high risk. You know, we have also, I think it's Facebook, I believe. AMD, we have not AMD. We have Facebook. Yeah, Facebook has on the 27th. Amazon the 28th. Apple is this week coming up to 28th. We have Microsoft. Actually, this week coming up, I believe it's the 26th, which is I think it's Tuesday. So we have a good amount of earnings coming up. Google 26 as well. So we have Amazon, Google, Apple, Facebook that have earnings coming up. You know, if they're good earnings and people want, sometimes even when they're good earnings, the company still drops. So like I said, if you trade during earnings, it's a high risk. Even on your swing trades, right? Even if let's say, you know, you're not even trading Amazon, but you trade Tesla on a swing trade, but Amazon has bad earnings, let's say, and it drops 200 points, Nasdaq is going to have an effect on it. So your swing trade on Tesla will have an effect on it as well. So that's why I said be careful on your swing trade this week coming up, just because of earnings. I say with anybody that swing trades right now, take a 2 week off from swing trading, just because if you don't want to risk too much, right? Because it can also be the high reward as well. Which personally, me, I like risk. I like to trade around earnings just because you can make a lot of money, but you also gotta play it safe. So one of the swing trades I talked to the group about is Twitter. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Okay, there we go. So right here, so we have Twitter. We have high volume on a weekly, falling wedge on a daily, 1 hour been choppy. Right now, I need to break the $29 to pick up higher. Strike price for me is gonna be 55, 30 days out. So what happened to Twitter right now? Let's look at it. Let's go to monthly. I have crazy volume. Crazy volume is not good for a monthly. Let me take that one off. Apply. Let me add volume. Volume average. So this is the indicator I use for my volume. Okay, so one thing you notice when the market is going down, right? The S&P 500, the Nasdaq is dropping. Clearly, you see everything here red, right? But notice Twitter is up, and notice high volume here, right? This indicator called the Awesome Oscillator and the CCI wants to pick up on a weekly time frame. That's very, very interesting. So, that's why I'll say trade what you see. Keep it simple. Yes, the market is being bearish, but Twitter for some reason is picking up. Elon Musk said he wants to buy it. He made it. People are interested now because Elon Musk. which personally for me, I don't really care if he's gonna buy it or not, but I do see volume, and this is why I'm interested on it. Then we go to the daily. The daily, if you know what patterns are, this is a nice falling wedge right here. You know, once it breaks that pattern right here for the above, it's gonna come back and find support, and then continue to go up, right? So it was choppy here for a couple of days, and yesterday it broke. I went long yesterday on my contracts for 55 strike price. Now I'm waiting for it to just continue to go up higher now. You can see a nice little pendant here that could possibly happen and continue to go up. So Twitter could be a good swing trade for anybody that missed it out this on Friday. Look at the other thing, high volume, right? Is above is a 10 million more than daily average. So that's interesting. So keep an eye on Twitter. It might pick up a lot. You know, look at the monthly. Look at that volume. Always look at volume. It's interesting. And then from there, look at your simple Dow theory, and then from there do the trend lines. You know, do your if you have indicators, some of your indicators. Don't use too much. But everything else is dropping, right? Oh, my chair. So we have a bunch of stocks that are dropping. We have Apple, Tesla dropped a couple points, even though it had good earnings. We have Amazon that dropped $78. Google dropped $106. Google broke that buy zone, so we have more downside for Google. It just did a lower low, right? Once it goes down, we have another. Let's see what support level could be. We have 0, 1, 2. This could be 3. This could be 3. We have A, B coming down to C. Let's see where C could be at. Where support level could it hit? So C could find support at 38.2, which is 22.60. That means we have another drop happening soon. I don't see no support here, right? Because look left, there's no support here that I can say, oh, Google's gonna find support here. The only one I see is right here. So this could be interesting for Google. It can find support at 22.60 and bounce up. We have Tesla. We have 0, 1, 2, 3. If you're in the Elliott wave, we have A, B coming down to C. So we have the 15 and 61. So 955.71 to 909 could be interesting. We have for the upside, I would definitely want to trade Tesla for the downside. Then we have Apple. Apple right now, we had a nice falling wedge. It hasn't not found support yet. You know, we have technically it found support here, picked up. Market just dropped that day and just rejected hard, right? It hit the 61.8 level. So let's see if it finds support here and goes up, or we have more downside and it might just create a lower low if it goes above one, if it goes below 150. Bed Bath & Beyond picked up for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it picked up. The only thing with this one, it's hard to catch them. So I'll say stay away from the Bed Bath & Beyond. Don't really pay attention to it. But that's really it for today. We have Netflix that dropped $100, $120, I believe, because of earnings. Someone could have made a lot of money on the put side, but like I said, it's high risk, high reward. I didn't trade that one. I wasn't able to. But that's it for this video. We talked about ES, we talked about NQ, we talked about the VIX, we talked about Bitcoin, we talked about what one swing trade I'm looking for, which is Twitter. We talk about what I'm expecting for next week. One thing I will say, guys, for psychology is, a lot of people choose entertainment over education, right? And that's sad to see that, because it's so easy to get entertained on certain things, right? If you love video games, if you love, sports, if you love, certain things that are fun, but not the best thing to do, right? Just because it's fun does not mean you continue to do it. I personally, I love games, but I know myself where, like, if I have a console, if I have a PS4, if I have a PS5, I have an Xbox, I know I'm gonna play it for a long time, and I don't want that. So I choose not to have that, just because I don't want to play no games. I have things I want to grow, business I want to build, and just things I just have my mind on certain things more focused at, and that's not really what I'm focused at. So guys, please do not pick entertainment over education. Please educate yourself, even on taxes. It could be on the stock market, it could be on real estate, it could be on something, right? If you want to have your own business, educate yourself on your business. Educate yourself on something to get better at. Not choose entertainment, because entertainment, it's all good and fun and everything, but you know, you're definitely gonna, time's gonna go fly by and you're gonna regret it. So that's it for this video. So if you have any comments and any questions, just comment down below and I'd love to help you out.